Well, maybe we should start. We'll go through the preliminaries, and maybe UB will be on by then. Don't want to wait forever either. So, call the meeting to order. We won't excuse anybody for now. We'll just think UB is going to be a bit late. And we'll deal with the minutes for February 20th, which were circulated. I'd ask for a motion to approve if that's Kelly. Kelly moves. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, that is passed. Are there any post-agenda items?
No post.
Seeing none, can we move on to an adoption of the agenda?
Sure.
Anne-Marie moves. All in favor? That is also passed. Our development report was also mailed out. There's 4 items on it. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we'll accept it as information. We have some new business, and who is going to handle that? I can't see in that room, so just go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Clarence. Before we present the development applications and subdivision applications, I just wanted to make MPC aware that there was a ministerial order that was issued on March 31st. This order was essentially a blanket extension for timelines for a number of dates set out in the MGA. So that includes taxes and a whole bunch of things, but planning and development specifically is affected, that all of our approval dates and timelines are extended. So that includes the timeline for deeming an application complete, the timeline for making a decision on applications. All of those now are moved to October 1st. One of the most significant impacts of that is the ability to appeal now has been moved to October 1st. So if we grant someone a development permit today, any of the affected landowner or affected parties will have the ability to appeal up until October 1st. So any development that they decide to do between when the development permit is approved and October 1st is completely at their own risk. So we spoke with Brownlee and Orsk, and the suggestion is that we table any approvals until we've heard from the minister, and hopefully things will change. I know I talked to Alberta Municipal Affairs, and they realize that this does impact developers fairly significantly, and they're working on an amendment. We haven't received an amendment yet. We're hoping in the next week or so we will get that. So Brownlee is suggesting that we wait for this amendment before we make decisions. Lenz, did you have anything to add to that, maybe?
No, I think you explained that correctly. We're sort of needing to hold these in abeyance for a little while till a new decision comes forth. The big problem is there's a holdup. No one will be able to finalize subdivision or work on any development until October 1st, because someone may, right up until that date, come in with an appeal. So it's not fair to those applicants, really.
Well, it's also not fair to the economy.
No, it isn't.
I wouldn't think that the government would want that to happen. Have you spoken to the applicants on this issue at all?
Yes, I've contacted the subdivision applicants. They're aware of it, and they're okay with waiting until your next MPC because they don't want to be caught, without the possibility of finalization. I do know the development industry and construction industry has also been in contact with municipal affairs regarding this because, like you said, Clarence, this is not good for the economy at all.
We have spoke to the applicants for the development permits as well. There is one that has said that they are okay with waiting, that they're in no rush. There is an applicant who the application is for fertilizer delivery, and obviously this is the time where he's going to be extremely busy. And we have discussed the risks associated with an approval today. And he has written a letter, and that's actually included in your package. We added that this morning. And he is aware of the risk, and he's willing to take that on because he really would like to start working as soon as possible. So that's one application maybe to consider.
Yes, Anne-Marie?
Yes?
Just go ahead, Anne-Marie. Or you were just stretching?
I have nothing to say. I was just reaching for my coffee. Sorry.
You're sending me false signals. Yes, Molly.
It concerns me that we delay. Like, what are the ramifications of approving these, whatever the province comes up with? Because they say next week. It might be, I mean, how long might we have to wait on them? What are the dangers? I know Brownlee's saying not to do anything, but worst case scenario, the government's going to amend it so that it's a less far out date, right? So I just don't know why we need to slow down this. Yeah, you have to do what lawyers tell you to do, but that sort of puzzles me too.
Wayne?
I think the problem here is that if we approve something and somebody goes ahead and does a bunch of construction or something, and then somebody comes within 2 months and decides to appeal it, then they are out that construction if it gets turned down or something like that. That's why I think Brownlee is probably saying don't approve anything till it's changed. And as far as that fertilizer thing, I would say there's probably going to be no objections, but nothing can be written in stone on that. So I think that might be the problem.
Well, these are uncertain times, and I don't, I'm not sure how to really attack this. But there's been some things before our final decision, and we don't go out and police it and let it go. And you can't go out and say that, but that's basically, I think, what will happen. Not if the fertilizer organization starts selling fertilizer tomorrow, Jiminy. Unless one of the competitors gets nasty about it, who's gonna really say that shouldn't be the case?
Clarence, Jeff has his hand up, and you probably can't see him.
No, okay, go ahead.
Hello, all. Good morning. Just to add a few comments and then notes on this. So like everybody's mentioned, the biggest concern is that an appeal comes in September and all the capital investment made by a developer could be turned over by an SDAB at that time and force them to tear down whatever they've built and go backwards from where they are. Now, Brownlee does mention in some of their Q&As on their site with regards to this that municipalities are still free to issue development permits, but understanding under the current situation that appeal period does extend to October 1st. And any applicant should be made well aware of any ramifications and exposure that they may have to that. I am of the belief it's MPC's decision to move ahead or not, but I believe it's also relevant to take into consideration what the developer, the landowner, their wishes and their thoughts are, and whether or not they're willing to take on that liability and exposure to a possible appeal.
No.
Brian?
So I guess my question is it opportunity, do we have an opportunity to supply feedback on this issue? My suggestion would be that for the appeal board to hear it, that could be delayed, as they suggest, till October 1st. But just so that the developer, like I guess what I'm wondering is, can we still put a time limit on filing an appeal? I realize that that they have to wait till October to get to the actual appeal, but just so the developer knows if it's going to be appealed or not, that we maintain that period that still exists, because the people that are in the proximity and get notified will still get notified. I mean, that doesn't change. So the only thing that changes is the appeal board hearing. So I guess maybe I don't understand it. I guess initially my question is do we have an opportunity to provide feedback on this?
And my understanding with that is that we do not have any right to dictate or specify appeal timelines. That the date is October 31st as per the order currently, and we don't have any powers to make that May 1st or April 20th or whatever we dictated. It would follow along with the order, but maybe Lenz or Maria has further comments on that.
Yeah, if I may, Brian, you're on the right track.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Brian, you are on the right track, because that's exactly the remedy that we propose to municipal affairs, is that they uphold the appeal periods of 20 days or 14 days, depending on whether it's subdivision or development, but that October 1st is the deadline for actually holding the appeal. The problem is the legislation as it currently stands suggests October 1st for the appeal time. So until they change that, we're in kind of limbo, because we do have to follow the legislation that the province has put in place.
One thing that I don't think was mentioned yet is if we approve a permit, a development permit or a subdivision now, the appeal period is October 1st, regardless of any changes that were made to the ministerial order. So if we wait till the next MPC meeting and there's been an amendment made to the order and maybe reflects better some of the concerns that are coming from municipalities, then decisions made at that time will reflect the new amendment. So, so that would be a reason to wait as well.
I guess my question is, what does our staff tell the applicants at this time? And do we have to, are we on dangerous ground by giving them some direction on that, on where we think these applications are going to go or not? Look at them, they're all, I don't see, from past experience, I think they're all going to get approved.
Mm-hmm.
And can we give our staff that knowledge, and then we let the applicants take their own risk? We're not going to go out and police this stuff. So I don't know. That's already said too much, but
well, with respect to subdivision, we can't finalize those till October 1st under this current legislation. So we can't. If someone has a sale pending or whatever, we just can't move forward, right, until
that's
this is.
And that, you know, and I understand that, and some of these subdivisions are. I know the one in Rolling Hills, just next to north of the golf course, it's already got his for sale sign up. So I mean, that's that's why it's there. But I guess when I'm kind of saying, what can we sort of give our staff some assurances of how they're going to communicate to the people there, and then let them make their own decisions how they proceed. they may know that, now they got to know that we can't do anything for sure, but they should have an idea of where we're going if we get this appeal period shortened.
Now, the 3 subdivision applicants that I talked to are aware of this, and they're okay with the 2 weeks because they don't want to jeopardize not being able to finalize.
Okay.
So 2 weeks is within their window, but they don't want it really to go beyond that either.
Jeff is waving.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. Just further to what Len says there, I think tabling the subdivisions is most definitely in our best interest because any approval made now, like Len's mentioned, restricts the registration of subdivision till October 1st. Hopefully by next meeting, we have some better clarity and we can get those subdivisions finalized earlier than that. But if we approve them today, October 1st will be that date. You know, going on to next meeting, if nothing's done, we approve the next meeting, that date will still be October 1st. But hopefully we can bring that date closer to today's date by any updates from municipal affairs. Now, you know, in our opinion on development permits, we're really doing everything we can to be open and honest and transparent and educate developers and anybody that comes in with questions. And this is all public information. So, you know, we're giving them all the information that we have and all the information that's pertinent to their specific application. And you know, I would leave it up to MPC for, you know, a case where somebody feels that they are in need of a development permit immediately and they have been explained and educated as to the risks associated with this and the possible ramifications out to October 1st. I would present that information to MPC to consider approval of an application. So, you know, the fertilizer distribution could get approved today, assuming they're willing to assume all those risks out until October. The draw out of this timeline to October 1st, the biggest thing, I know we mentioned history and current or historical appeals with regards to developments and subdivisions. The problem that I see coming out of this possibly is, you know, it gives people a long time to watch the development transpire, to watch it operate, to watch everything happen. And it gives them a lot of time to develop a bad taste in their mouth about what's going on. So, you know, it could be September before they decide, I sure don't like this development that's happened, I'm going to put it in appeal. And it gives them that amount of time. And, you know, we're making developers aware of the current situation in this. And you know, if they're willing to accept those risks, I guess maybe there's consideration to be given to that.
Kelly?
I would like to make a motion to table subdivisions and development permits at this time.
Okay, so you're making, yeah, go ahead.
With the hopes, with the anticipated shorter timeline coming from the province.
You're talking about option 2, which would basically handle everything that's on the rest of our agenda. So it's MPC can table the applications until the next MPC meeting. And
that's my motion.
Yeah, okay. Any further? Yes, Trace.
I'm just like, why was this order brought in place? Like, it seems like with everything that's going on, this is such a negative impact on things. Like, why was this brought out, or why was it changed? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
Well, I'll take a stab at it. I mean, they're trying to be proactive on this thing and missed a few things that were negatives, and it's just human error. I'm taking it as some unintended consequences. I really don't think anybody probably had a handle on before they made the order. Anyway, anybody else?
Staff is waiting.
Yeah. Alan?
Yeah, so just for clarification, so the fertilizer business will be on hold then, correct? If we vote in favor of this motion?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Just
Yep.
Clarence,
Jeff, you want to answer that?
Shanley's got something to say here.
Okay, go ahead.
I have spoken with all of the applicants and all of the pending applicants that have come forward, and there's about 10, including the 2 today. All of the applicants are okay with waiting and understand the ministerial order and are okay to waiting the 2 weeks to see if something is going to, a revision is going to come, with the exception of Mr. Sandow with his fertilizer business, because he would like to take the risk because his livelihood is, he needs to start right away. So he has requested that MPC would hear his permit today. But all the other applicants that I have talked to are okay with tabling or holding their permits until we get more information. And I've spoken to all of them directly.
Thank you very much. That's the type of information we need. Is everybody comfortable making that one exception to the motion? Are there any ramifications? Kelly?
Again, the ramification is that if we approve that permit, the appeal deadline, if I understand it correctly, sticks with that permit till October 1st. Even if and when the ministerial order changes. So we are sticking him with, I don't believe we're protecting our ratepayer by, he may not see it that way, but I don't see that we're protecting him and his best interests.
Okay, yes, Alan?
But this applicant clearly understands the ramifications, and he is willing to take the risks. And with the current financial downturn, the economic downturn, I think he's willing to take the risk. And if an applicant is willing to take that risks, I'm perfectly fine with voting for an exception for him. And if it turns out different, that's his risks. And I think he's been made aware of it. And I'm in favor of giving him an exception on this one.
Wayne?
Later on in council, Lane asked us to come up with ways to promote the economy to get it rolling again. And this is a perfect one where the economy will pick up if he is allowed to go forward. So I think it's worth the risk also. I know the situation. Trevor is a neighbor. And the chances of it being appealed are very slight. I think we should take a chance on this and let it go, because he has to start going now, because this is spring and fertilizer.
So let's look at reality right now. And the fact that we can't probably say to him that, yeah, go ahead and sell tomorrow, because if he's selling fertilizer, he probably will be, irregardless. And has he been able to weigh those two options?
Lane is waving.
Yes, Wayne, or Lane.
Lane.
The other option, instead of MPC going ahead and making a decision with regards to the permit for that particular application, what we can do is leave it until 2 weeks from now, and then the applicant can make a decision as to whether they want to take the risk of going ahead and getting started without even a permit decision having been made by MPC, knowing that the application is going to be considered 2 weeks from today. And any work that they carry out between now and then is entirely at their own risk. 2 weeks from today, the application would be before MPC, a decision would be made, and hopefully Municipal Affairs will have by then fixed the problem, and they will be in a position to go ahead with their project, assuming that MPC grants approval, and the permit would be subject to the standard period for appeals. That's another option. So that the decision to table would include that particular project. The applicant can make an educated decision as to whether they want to go ahead in advance of a permit even being issued.
You said that much better than I did, Wayne. Thank you. Okay, how do you want to wish to proceed?
We have a motion on the table, Sir Chair.
Yeah, we have a motion on the table, and I take it it has no exceptions. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Are we ready for the vote? All in favor? Trying to count here, which is difficult. Opposed? I've got one opposed. Is that all? Okay, it is passed. That then would take us to post agenda items, if I'm correct. Which, is there anything in camera? No. Question period. Then I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all. See you on the other side of the council meeting.